sorry, was I get?
Yeah, so I'm, a taxpayer here in the state of New Hampshire, I have two little boys in elementary school, and Michael reached out to me about 6 weeks ago, and he said, T, I have a teacher at pickup and drop off who is prancing around my car and trying to antagonize me. I believe it's because of my political beliefs, and he is a cross-dresser, and I have an 8-year-old little girl, and I don't know what to do about this. I don't feel it's developmentally appropriate for my daughter to be confused with this. And I said, well, why don't you first just take it to the principal.
What's your name?
Therese, T-E-R-E-S-E. And my last name is Bastarache, B-A-S-T-A-R-A-C-H-E. And so why don't you bring it to the principal?
Where do you live?
I live in Loudon, Concord line. Bring it to the principal and see.
Your children go to school in Loudon?
Yes, they do.
With respect to any details to that, I want to say
You
because
can-
I've written an affidavit about that, but you
Yeah,
can
anything
paraphrase
I
if you
do,
like.
you can come in after me,
Yep,
correct
yep.
me with.
She's
how
gonna
I-
paraphrase it, and I'm gonna give you the details that are sworn to in an affidavit that I presented to your staff up there, and I've also emailed you.
So I said, bring it to the principal's office, he brought it to the principal's office, and then directly after that, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, the pickup and drop off became more animated. So now you have this art teacher, Silas Allard, prancing around his car and being very.
Not around my car, on the sidewalk in front of the school, directing his attention directly to me. And I'm sure you have cameras in the school that can confirm that. And I would respectfully request that any and all be preserved. Any and all cameras be preserved.
Hold on a minute, I wanna hear from you, okay? I'm fine with that.
Well, I'm putting that on record right now. I want all documentary evidence preserved.
No, let her finish. and
Okay,
then
go ahead.
I
I know,
promise
the
you'll
emotions
be-
are high.
you'll be heard, but you gotta let her talk, I can't do it.
Go
I'll
ahead.
go quickly and then you can
I'm
go.
just making a stipulation, that's all.
Things exasperated, and he goes, what do I do now? And I said, well, bring it to the school board. So
No,
bring-
superintendent.
Bring it to the superintendent, just keep escalating it up. That was last week about, and next thing you know, he's now has a restraint order put on him for picking up and dropping off his daughter at the school. And the restraint order, I look at the language in that, it makes absolutely no sense that he would have a restraint order and a trespass. And now the 8-year-old little girl can't even go to school. In the meantime, we go on to look up this teacher. And what we found was horribly disturbing.
I saw all of it, you sent,
We
you
have
sent me
one,
all of it.
just for the record, I mean, we've got drug use, we've got one where, hey, you're on your you're out of condoms, out of condoms, but he's drunk enough to risk it. So you're gonna take advantage of somebody who's impaired and give them potentially an STD. That's this gentleman, and then,
What's
but
the year?
three attributes,
What are the years on here?
does that matter?
Yes, it does to me.
It
What does
doesn't-
What does it say on
It,
here?
to me,
I knew that.
I know that, you
Well,
guys
just-
are gonna dismiss
no,
it, it
no,
was
just
2017
wait
for
a
the
minute.
record,
You're-
but there's things that are more recent.
You're recording, and
Yeah.
you want the information accurate. All I'm asking you is if you
Okay.
could repeat what's on there.
So when you out of condoms, but he's
So,
drunk
then-
enough to
then-
risk it.
Then I'll say it, then the dates on those, those Twitters.
Yeah, we're done.
are-
We're done.
Let's
go.
No.
We're done talking.
Go ahead, Michael, you can
Just
jump.
so we
We're
can
done.
know.
What three
I'll see you in
attributes
court.
would you use to describe yourself? Evil, diabolical.
You're gonna excuse me.
When you don't care that your family member died, you don't care that your dog ran away, but your drug dealer gets caught. That's a big deal. I hope God watches me masturbate. Someone gets, if you could order weed on Amazon, when your country is up, but you're too stoned, it's okay now. This one, picking up boys 101 with a small child. It doesn't matter whether this is yesterday or 5 years ago. This is not someone that should be prancing around a father's car when he's simply trying to drop off and pick up his daughter. I don't care what your political beliefs are. I don't care what your religious beliefs are. I don't care what your sexuality is. But these are impressionable, small little children. And those things need to be left at the door. There's a certain level of professionalism that needs to come into that classroom, where these children are not confused. This is developmentally not appropriate for a child not to understand, Daddy, why is he dressed in girls' clothing? Gender dysphoria is harming this generation. A kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grader does not need to be exposed to that. We can teach tolerance. We can teach to love every human being for whatever choices they make. He has a history, 17 years in jail as a felon. And you know what? I still love him as a human being. I have family members who are LGBTQ. And I love and adore each and every one of them. But when it comes to our children, we don't need to have someone that's telling them what their costume, when it's sex toys, or flaunting or retaliating with a restraint order that prevents this little girl from being able to participate in Valentine's Day. That was a retaliatory act for this poor dad standing up and saying, I'm concerned that this man is developmentally appropriate for these young children. And he has a right to have that grievance brought forward and not have it dismissed. And as taxpayers, we're just saying, leave these things at the door until it's developmentally appropriate for them. I had a gym teacher. She was gay. We all knew she was gay. We adored her. We loved her. But she didn't flaunt it around. She didn't prance around at pickup and drop off and make everyone feel uncomfortable. This, I don't know when he was hired by the school district. He obviously has taken down all of this. There's more stuff on TikTok. But this does show character.
The part that scares me as a parent is he's admitting to being a sexual predator, and he's in our schools. He's admitting to it right there. Being a sexual predator. I'm Kevin. Teresa's wife, same last name.
Okay,
Teresa's husband, same last name.
thank you.
And that's the part that upsets me. He's admitting to being a sexual predator. That's not okay. Not around my kids or any other kids. We have our own kids, but I care about all the kids. And when I heard this, I showed up. That's not cool. I think an immediate hold on his job would be appropriate until this is investigated.
Especially when there's a retaliatory
I don't think we should
act
spend another
against
day in
anyone.
that art room teaching little children when he's admitting to being a predator.
Especially when it's implementing that
It's a
another
valid
child
point.
can't go to school.
Who are you?
I am Michael's
My nanny.
nanny, and I also
I know,
am
but Nanny.
Jennifer Brigham.
Thank you.
I raised 3 children. I have a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, and an 8-year-old that I have full custody of.
Jennifer, you go ahead now. You live in Concord,
I live in Pittsfield, New Hampshire.
Pittsfield.
Yep.
Thank you. Go ahead now.
So I feel like it's very hard for Michael and myself to bring Bella to school. How do we know that if he's being retaliated on, then how do we know she's not going to be? How do we know that her education is actually going to be the most important thing, just like every other child in that school? So currently we're contemplating the homeschooling for her. But she's a child that wants to be around friends. And it's not like my children are satisfied being middle school kids that don't want to deal with what's going on in New Hampshire schools, because it's not just Concord.
More cops.
It's everywhere, because Pittsfield's having the same problem. And I've been fighting them tooth and nail and got nowhere. So I've removed all 3 of my children, one of which is a foster child, and 2 of which are mine and my husband's biologically. But Bella, I've talked to her to try to see if she wants to go on the same school platform as my kids and meet up with the homeschool platform so we can do school dances, movie nights, and she just doesn't want to.
And I understand the school district is in a position of you can't discriminate based on someone's race, religion, or sexual preference. Like, I get that. But you shouldn't have someone who is, really, really intense Christian prophesying, right? Like, you wouldn't allow that in the classroom. Like, there's a certain level of professionalism that needs to happen. And I know that you guys are stuck with the current laws of, being slapped with a lawsuit. But when you look at this, it's separate from anything else. This is just, there's got to be some sort of boundary as to what's professionally allowed in the classroom. And the politics, the religion, and your sexuality need to be left at the door. And, if you want to dress more feminine or more masculine, everyone is on a spectrum. As a nurse, I know that. We've got tomboys, we've got men that are feminine, that's fine. Dress whatever you want, but it needs to be professional. It can't be a tutu, prancing around, a 60-year-old father's car in trying to antagonize the situation. It's just not professional. And then what we're seeing here is just, I don't know that this man is healthy.
So, my understanding is that the restraining order was withdrawn.
It was.
Today.
So I wanna be clear about that. The restraining order was withdrawn on Wednesday. So,
We only
are you
found out-
aware of that?
We only found out this morning when we showed
Well,
up at court for 9
right.
a.m. So
I
this
don't,
dad,
that's not my responsibility, but I was informed Wednesday evening, around 5 o'clock, that the, restraining order was withdrawn.
did
So I
anyone
was-
call the
I'm
father?
sorry that,
So I was not
hold
given
on,
notice
hold
and my
on,
daughter
hold on.
missed more
You-
school.
Don't interrupt me, please, that we were informed that it was withdrawn, and so, the issue then became the letter that I wrote relative to him on campus, and because
I never got a letter.
because, please don't interrupt me,
Go ahead.
thank you. And so I sent a certified letter, indicating how we would handle Bella's, coming to school and drop off, and the need for her dad to meet with the nurse, meet with the school teacher, Bella's classroom teacher. I talked to her classroom teacher, this week, and, so that we can keep up with her education, so, I'm not sure why we're here today on Friday when all of these things have been put into place.
Okay,
Because you
so,
have a sexual predator working in your school
Sir,
system.
please, I know you.
That's a fact.
So-
That's a fact. No, ignore facts.
So-
Three, one at a
so
time.
this father was retaliated. Do you know what it's like to get a restraint order that takes away your 2A, that takes away your ability to educate your child, that makes you be thrown and catapulted into feeling as though you've done something wrong for standing up for the safety of children? And he didn't get any awareness Wednesday night. None of us did. We didn't find out anything until we showed up at the court. He's been reaching out to you guys for the last month. Nobody picked up the phone Wednesday and said, hey, Michael, it's okay, the restraint order's been dropped.
That was not my responsibility.
Okay,
That
Well,
was
whose
somebody
responsibility
else's
was it?
But
responsibility.
what about being
We
human?
did not, wait a minute.
What about just
Calm
being
down.
courteous
I
to
love the
your
way you're
father?
trying to turn this.
Yeah.
So what are you trying to say, that my
It's okay,
daughter
it's okay,
couldn't went
but
to
her-
school for the last 2 days because you didn't inform
If
me?
you can't stop
I can't.
and interrupting, then we're gonna end the meeting.
No problem.
I wanna hear from everybody, and I wanna give you that voice, but you keep interrupting. Don't do it again,
Or
or
what?
we're gonna end the
I
meeting.
said,
All right, well then I'm sorry that you feel that way. You are not ready to have this meeting with me then.
I've been trying to have this meeting for the last 4
You-
months,
we-
since November, when your principal filed the first complaint against me.
He
You-
has a
Nobody
right to
heard
be
me.
very angry.
Please tell the whole story.
Oh yeah, let me tell the
You
whole
had
story.
an opportunity.
Oh yeah, let me tell the whole story. Let's go on. Go on.
You had
Finish
an
your
op-
speech.
You had an opportunity to meet with our Title IX compliance officer who spent time with you on the phone, in great detail, what the ramifications were around your concerns. And so to say that we haven't done anything is inaccurate.
Did you look at this teacher's social media before you hired him?
That's my question.
That's my question right now.
And why is he still in the classroom after I've seen what I've seen?
Because this is not okay.
That's the problem. All this other stuff, restraining order, that's water under the bridge.
If
All these
Concord,
processes you guys are running through.
if we're
This is the
spending,
problem.
if we're spending 60% of our property taxes and $10,000 to $20,000 per child
You're not a resident of Concord.
in the state of New Hampshire, I speak for the entire state of New Hampshire.
That's what's
If that's what we're spending on our children, and there's no background check to make sure that they're appropriate
I
and
could
safe
be a
to be with
resident of
children,
Canada, and this is still wrong.
May I
Stop
lay out
diverting
some-
the subject
So
to other
you're
things.
set, right? I'll hear from you. Are you ready to?
I am ready to talk.
Okay, that's great.
Let me lay out my statement of facts here.
I
You must not be woken
do
up
we
to
look
that.
at social media before we
Yeah.
hire?
No, we do not look at social media before we hire.
But I know
This
teachers have
is-
been fired for
That's
that.
something that needs to change, and I know we'll put legislation in, because it needs to be looked
Yeah.
at.
Alright, so.
We'll be visiting the Capitol.
If you're protecting children, this should be something that should be looked at in an interview process. It is for a nurse, they don't hire me
Right.
without looking at my social media.
Are you finished? Are you finished?
I may go as long as I need to go, this is our
No,
children.
you're not gonna go as long as you need to go. Are you finished discussing so I can give time?
I just like to know that you
Can
guys are
I
not
give
interviewing
time
people.
to him to
Sure,
speak?
of
He's
course.
quite anxious. Go ahead, sir.
Alright, so let me tell you why we're here today. because I prepared to go to court for Friday. I filed a motion to expedite the stalking petition filed by the teacher, which I was served with on Monday. I filed an expedited motion on Tuesday. I was granted a hearing for today. So I prepared for this hearing. I went to the court, and there was no hearing. I was never notified that there was not a hearing. And I understand that that's not your function. I understand that. You don't work for the court. Somebody from the courtroom should have sent me a letter. With respect to you said you sent me a certified letter about my conduct on your I don't accept mail for certified. If you want to serve me through a sheriff. All right. Furthermore, let me tell you how this goes. So I got custody of this girl. I've been fighting for custody of Bella for 5 years. This child is not even my biological kid, and I fought for her. But since I raised her, she was born to me. I'm on the birth certificate. It was my duty and responsibility to take care of her, and I did. So I finally got custody of her from her mother, and
You don't have full custody though.
well, we're still arguing about that.
Well,
Yeah,
the court document I have says it's 50-50.
it's not 50-50.
Well, that's what
So
the
she
court order
has,
says.
now let me tell you what the court order says, because I'm very familiar with it,
I'm
okay?
sure you are.
She has incremental visitation rights, starting with 3 months, 3 hours a day, then it goes to 8 hours, 3 hours a weekend for one day for a month, then it goes to 1 month for 8 hours, then it goes to for 3 months, and then for 1 month eventually it goes to 1 weekend visit overnight. That's it. And we go back to court on March 30th to determine how this is gonna go. And I'm gonna be moving to terminate her parental rights because her son, who's also born to someone and raised by a man that is not his father.
Wait,
They're
can I
moving
just
to
ask,
terminate
how
his
is this
parental
relevant?
rights.
Why is this relevant and
Why are
this
you
isn't?
interrupting?
Because I have a
No,
question.
you don't
Why
have-
is that
no.
relevant?
Excuse me.
All right, so
I'm
let me
gonna
get back
listen
to why I
one
have
person
custody,
at a
right?
time, okay?
So I have
I just wanna
custody,
make sure I
I have
understand.
custody of Bella, and on the 21st, her 16-year-old son is moving to terminate her rights. I will follow and do the same thing with the evidence from that hearing. So right now, I have full primary residential custody of that child until the court hearing on March 31st. All right, so I was happy to put my child, and when I found out it was the Kristen McAuliffe school, I was like, actually, because Kristen McAuliffe, she's an amazing being, you know. And let me tell you something. Let me go full circle, Kristen McAuliffe. In 1986, when the space shuttle shot up, I was standing in the bar in Valley Street Jail behind bars, watching the space shuttle go up in the air, and I watched it blow up, and I watched inmates start cheering that she was dead and that those people died. They were cheering the animals. And I turned on them, I said, "You effing animals, man, you better shut up now. I'm gonna start hurting this." They shut up. It was horrible. So let's fast forward to where I am now. So I get my daughter in this school. I mean, this is a beautiful thing. I mean, she's a role model. She sacrificed her life for the space exploration of this country. I mean, what better person could I have, my daughter following? So I was proud to have her here. I come up to the school and I see, this was probably in October, and I see the art teacher, and he's dressed like a woman, he's got a full beard, he's got dangling earrings, he's dancing around, he's very jolly and whatnot, and I'm like, I'm shocked. I'm like, these are elementary school students. I'm like, why is there a cross-dresser here and he's not even a cross-dresser. I mean, if he was a cross-dresser and doing that full-time, that would be one thing. I mean, he's engaging in that sexuality. But this guy's got a full beard. Sometimes he's wearing male clothes, sometimes he's wearing female clothes. It's complete confusion. Now, the students love him, right? Whatever, that's fine. So I go and I want to see the principal about this. So they won't let me see her. So I get a conversation with her on the phone, and she tells me, we can't discriminate against anybody's clothes, and all the students love him. I said, excuse me? I said, they may love him. And she said, and then she goes on to say, and many of them identify with him. So I said, what are you kidding me? You're telling me that a 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old is identifying with a 6'4", 260-pound bearded crossdresser. Is that what you're telling me? I said, Kristen McAuliffe would be rolling over in her grave. And you know what this morning had the audacity to say? Oh, she was a very progressive woman. Yeah, Kristen McAuliffe was a Sunday school teacher and a Catholic. She would never tolerate this. So I said, I'm done talking to you. And that's when I called your office. So I called your office and I was referred to the Title IX office. So we spoke about that. I understand collective bargaining, I mean, I understand all these different agreements, I understand discrimination. I mean, I have no problem with anybody's sexual orientation, some of my best friends are gay. Two of my friends are married, and they have adopted and raised a daughter themselves, and they're both gay. And so I talked to your Title IX officer, and I said, this is crazy, because the test of a child's protection in this state is the best interest of a child, all right? That's the legal test. What is in the best interest of a child? So if you're gonna tell me that this man's right against discrimination, the way he dresses, trumps the interest of every single child in this state, I think it's unconscionable, and I think it's wrong, and I guarantee you, or I believe, it's unconstitutional. So I asked your title officer, has this law ever been challenged? She didn't know. I said, has it ever been a constitutional test? There's lots of laws that are out there that have been legislated, that have never been challenged, and get turned over all the time, So it happens. So excuse me, and turn that right off, all right?
Thank you.
Because I'm retired, I don't have to answer phones anymore. Alright, so we go on, I speak to your woman, and fine, no problem, listen, you guys gotta understand, I'm Italian Irish guy, I'm kinda animated, alright? And you all know that I have a colorful life, alright? Good, bad, ugly, whatever it may be. I am who I am, I'm no angel, I don't profess to be an angel. I've paid the time for my my transgressions, I paid for it, right? But I'm still being punished for it, but whatever, that's how society is, we're not very forgiving. So my next step is, what am I gonna do now? So now I've got to, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna file a lawsuit against this. Now, let me give you a little background on me. I have a Bachelor of Specialized Studies in Paralegal Science. I was a renowned jailhouse lawyer. I've litigated all the way up to the United States Supreme Court. I've written writs of certiorari. I have published law in the Federal Reporters and the Federal Supplements. And as a matter of fact, in Guglielmo versus Cunningham, Warden of State of New Hampshire, Mr. Guglielmo stated a cause of action against denial of his First Amendment rights to speech and to bring grievance to the government. And in that case, I stated a cause of action based on a chronology of legal activism and consequent institutional retaliation, just like we have here in this school. And here's an example of it right here from your teacher, email right there. And we could also argue that the stalking order is the same thing, because it's completely baseless. I've got witnesses that can destroy every line of it. Furthermore, within the contents of that restraining order, there is numerous identifying facts about me. How did he get them? There was only one way that he got these facts, and that was by researching me and determining who I was and researching me and whatever he did. I didn't even know the guy's name until I found the petition. I don't know what his name is. I didn't care what his name is. He was non-consequential. What was consequential for me was that he was doing this in front of children. Now, if this was going on in the high school or the junior high, where people have already developed their sexual autonomy, man, we're in the 21st century, man. People are people. Let them be people. Kids are going to be what they want to be. But we got to give them the chance to be that. Let them develop that. Let them make that choice. We can't be influencing that choice by stuffing something like this down their throats. So then, my next move is I'm gonna exhaust all administrative remedies right before I go to court. That's what I'm doing. I'm exhausting all of them, and you're all doing exactly what I think you're gonna do. You're ignoring me. Because why? Because I don't count, and you're the bureaucracy, and you got the power. All right? So we won't talk about that. You're gonna argue otherwise, but that's my perception. That is my experience.
I'm not gonna argue with you.
I'm saying metaphorically. We're in an adversarial position right now,
Metaphorically,
correct?
I'm here to listen to you, I'm not arguing.
Okay, that's fine. You say, well, I'm arguing, okay?
Just, yeah,
I'm making my point.
You might be arguing, but
Right.
I'm.
I'm saying argument in the manner that
You asked to
I'm
come and talk
articulating.
to me.
I didn't ask
with
to
your
come and talk to you.
friends,
I didn't ask to come. I came here to file a complaint, and then people came in and asked if we would like to speak. So I didn't ask
Call
to
the
come and talk
cops.
to you. You invited me to a meeting, and I joined it. So that's why we're here. Not because you sent out an invitation to me. So let's clarify that, because let me finish here. So then I went to, and I'm not trying to be rude to you, man, I respect my elders, right?
Excuse me.
I said, I'm not trying to be rude to you, I respect my
Are you
elders.
making an allegation about my age? Is
Oh,
that-
boy, no, I'm sorry,
Oh,
let me retract that.
Thank you.
You're a beautiful,
Thank you.
59-year-old woman, I'm
Thank
59 like every year. So I'm actually 60, but prison preserves me. All right, so, then I go to the school board. I asked to speak before the school board,
I was there.
Oh, and you were there, right, so I speak before the school board, you know, what do I get? I get crickets, you know, so. And then what happened was, you know, I went to the school to drop my daughter off the final time, and, you know, so every time that I did something, Mr. Allard's behavior escalated. He stared at me more, he gave me more attention, he danced around, he provoked, he did this, he did that. And I have numerous witnesses, including my friend right here, Mr. Robinson, right? Mr. Robinson, 36 years ex-law enforcement. He works for me, he drives me, because I had a little time when I had lost my license, you know, more bad behavior, bad choices. So I had a driver. He was 25 years corrections, and 12 years as the warden of Carroll County Jail. This is the man that drives me around, and he's my friend and works for me. He has personally taken me to the school, and I had him witness. Well, I said, watch what this guy's gonna do. Watch. He watched it. He's seen it. So now let's move to last Thursday, whatever it is. I believe it was February 3rd, right? I come up there. This is at the school board thing is on. It's on YouTube every day. Every day the hits are growing. And I pull in. He's standing down in the corner, and he's always surrounded by a bunch of teachers, like it's some kind of celebrity, and blowing this up. And I guarantee you, if I depose your teachers, and I start asking him about whether he was taunting me or not, and if they were talking about me, and if he thought it was a joke, I guarantee you, I'm gonna develop some material that's not gonna be very beneficial. So let's move forward. So he's standing there, cross-armed like this. You know what that is, right? You know what kind of body language that is? That is confrontational, defiant body language. And I know all about it because I am a trained fighter. Martial arts, MMA, all of it. Alright? So I start rolling down in my vehicle to pick up my daughter at her assigned cone. I love your security at this school. It's amazing. I think it's beautiful the way you take care of the kids. It's just remarkable, man. Very, very impressive. I love it. Kids are safe there in respect to being dropped off. I don't know what got inside. However, I digress. So now I roll by him, right? I roll by him to the assigned spot, and I'm watching him in the rearview mirror, and his head is cranking right like this. I'm watching this guy, right? I'm on point all the time because I have PTSD. I spent 17 and a half years in prison. People tried to kill me, so I'm always on point. I watch it. I stop my car. His head stops directly looking at me. I'm watching in my rearview mirror. My little girl gets in the car. I said, Bella, no, just hang on a minute. I'm going to exit the car for a second. I exited my vehicle. I calmly, smoothly, and slowly walked 20 yards down the driveway to your official. And as I walked, all your teachers fled. They ran. They quickly walked away. They dispersed. And your gym teacher ran to the far corner of front of the building and turned his back like this on the whole thing, so he didn't want to see it. All right? Hold on. Now, why would we do that? I don't know. Why am I intimidating? I don't know.
Why do you think they did this?
I don't know. Maybe they didn't want to be around for it. Maybe they didn't know what was going to happen. You know why? Because they knew that he had been building this up for months, provoking me, trying to provoke a reaction from me. And we know.
Teachers refer to you?
Listen, I'm talking now, right? Thank you. So, if they were standing with this man for several months since October, which we're in February, and he's been building this up, provoking me, they might think that. And let's not forget that he's probably telling them who I am and what. Listen, you can Google me. I'm Googleable, all right? You can find all kinds of stuff about me. I've done TED Talks. I've been arrested. I've done this. I've done that. And it's easy to find. Am I a violent person? Have I demonstrated some violence in my life? Absolutely. In fact, I have a mantra I won't share with you, okay? So, I walk down there. I walks up to Mr. I call him Mr. XXYY because I don't know what his name is until now. And I said, can I take your picture? If that's the animated Italian thing again, yeah, sorry. So I said, can I take your picture? And he says, well, what do you want my picture for? I said, I just want your picture. I like your picture. Can I have your picture? And he says, well, yeah. I said, you give me legal permission to take your picture right now, Pierre? And he says, yes. And he's recording me. He's got his phone right in front of him, and he's recording me. And I'm sure that your closed-circuit TV cameras in front of that school are recording me too. I turned to Miss Perkins, who is my daughter's teacher, and I said, Miss Perkins, she's a great lady too, I love that woman. That's why I bring her flowers and food baskets and cookies on holidays. Oh yeah, I'd walk them right in. Alright, plus we'll put some apples for the teachers, sure. So, just like my mother taught me to do, you respect your teachers. I called Miss Perkins, I said, did you hear what he said? You said, you heard him? Are you confirming that he gave me permission to take this picture? And she said, yes, I am. And then I said, give me a big smile, baby girl. And I snapped his picture, and I walked away.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Thank you. Did you ask him to pose?
No, I believe I said, can you take a big smile?
Did you ask him to pose?
Not to my knowledge, no. I remember what I said, I believe what I said, and I'm paraphrasing, that I said, give me a big smile, baby girl. That's what I remember saying. But, you know, if you get the contents of his phone, we can both know exactly what I said. So I'm not saying I did, I'm not saying I
We
did.
have the building recorders.
Oh, good. Do you have sound on that?
We
too?
have,
So do you have audio on that?
No.
So there's no audio, so you can't.
Right.
But he has a
Certainly,
phone,
Mrs.
and who cares how I
Certainly.
asked him, it doesn't matter, he gave me permission to take it.
Right.
All right, so finally-
Then you wanted to have him pose, which is something.
Oh, that's, so you wanna try and twist this around, huh?
I'm just telling you.
Well,
what
let's
I've been
depose
told.
everybody and we'll get the real facts then. So,
You know
because that's
what?
what we're
You know
gonna
what?
do.
You're getting
You wanna
upset.
get argumentative with me?
I don't
You're
wanna
trying to
get
make
argumentative.
excuses for this guy.
I'm not making.
Who cares if I
excuses.
ask him to pose?
Are you gonna
Michael.
lose your temper?
Oh yeah, oh here we go, I love the way you guys play this.
Mike,
Oh,
you
he
know
was
what?
so, he was
I
so
wanna have a
aggravated, we
conversation.
couldn't,
I wanna
we
have a
couldn't speak to him,
conversation
he got
with you.
hyperbolic, and he
You're-
got
you're-
out of control, and, oh, he was violating the peace, and we had to remove him from the place. Go ahead.
So this isn't the problem, it's the
No,
parent that's the problem.
no, you're gonna
I just
stop.
wanna make
This
sure I
here is
understand
the
because you're
real
going
problem.
I
down
don't wanna
paths
talk
that
to you.
aren't even
This could go a lot
relevant.
quicker and be
Michael,
expedited in a more
continue.
professional way.
Continue,
It's alright, we'll take it
But
to
it's
the
not.
with.
one at a time.
That's
Go
the
ahead.
problem.
Go ahead.
I
So
would
this
expect this gentleman to
No,
be
she's clear that she's
released
just gonna
from his
turn it
job.
back
Yeah.
on Michael, she's gonna
Let it-
antagonize you too.
Let him do
you
it.
wanna
This.
have-
You wanna
When
spend
we
months
hammer this out in
investigating
depositions,
while
everybody's,
there's a
everybody's stupid
creeper
about
with the
that.
kids.
You wanna have a conversation.
We are.
That's the
Is
joke.
it one-sided?
No, we're both talking, right?
Yeah.
So by now, it's
When I
two-sided.
ask you a question,
Yeah.
you take offense to it immediately.
I take offense to a misplaced question, you're trying to plant
No,
a
I'm not.
seed,
No,
you're
I'm
trying
not.
to plant a defense, don't talk, come on.
You.
I've taken
No,
rhetoric from Aristotle, okay?
I understand that. You wanna have a conversation, if it's one-sided, I won't ask another question.
No, it's not one sided.
Yes,
Just stop
it
there.
is.
She's
Because
made
as
it
soon as I
clear,
ask-
she's made it clear,
as soon
she's
as I
gonna
ask
just
you-
be
Are we done?
judged.
Yeah.
She's not gonna help us keep our children safe.
We'll see you in court.
I wanna make sure you have these.
Get your lawyers.
I have-